To the special meeting of the Blyth Town Council, held on Thursday, the 26th of March, 2026, start time 5:30. There's no public question time tonight. So, sorry about that. But the next one will be at the next AGM. But if you have any questions, please send them in via email or ring up. Thank you. Can I ask electronic devices be turned off and just used for access if you have papers? Okay, we'll go to apologies for absence.
We have councillors Erskine, Marcus Nicholson, everybody else is here.
Not an apology, but I've definitely put myself this evening, so I'm a bit scared by six. Disclosures of interest in grants of dispensations. Do we have any? No. Very much. Agenda 3 is the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 17th of February 2026 to agree the minutes as a true record. Do we agree?
Agree.
Agree. Thank you very much. Agenda 4 is community funding policy. To resolve the proposed changes to the community funding policy. Pass it on to Lillian.
The report was circulated, and then it was a follow-up email was sent out with the revised draft policy attached to the report. The changes that are being proposed are outlined within the report. One that has been omitted from that is the fact that the revised draft policy is looking to move community funding decisions into the public part of the meeting, apart from where there is a request from the applying organisation or a specific reason why it should be considered in part 2. And that one is not highlighted there, but other amendments include offering enhanced officer support to applying organisations, strengthening the initial review to ensure that all criteria is met before it comes to the committee, ensuring that applying organisations have the opportunity to consent for their application to potentially be funded by town councillors' small schemes, strengthening the criteria on what is permitted or excluded in line with legislation, e.g. not supporting political promotion or activity and not funding the schools unless it is of the community benefit. One thing that the members are asked to consider is in relation to religious organisations. Previously, the policy did not support religion and religious activities. However, the Religious Observances Act 2015 is outlined within the report that does allow the council to support religious organisations if the council chooses to. So that's a decision that does need to be made by the council. So hand it over to the chair, please.
Thank you very much. On the religious element of things, councillors can use their small schemes money on that if they wish to do so. All know that, yeah. We know that, yeah. Okay.
Chair, can I just add? You can still do it through the council, like with community grants. You can still do it through that for the religious churches. Because what I'm getting at here, there's a lot of groups that work in these churches, and it benefits them. So they might not be part of the church, but they hire the home. So that's one question anyway.
So is this for funding for hiring the hall?
They're just like, if they want to hire the hall, if they want to do anything in the hall, like you've got a good one that already goes into St Mary's and it's brilliant. So it's good fair.
Yeah, and the Denise.
Yeah, just to touch on what Kat's asking, it's from my understanding, there's no rules against funding any churches for any community fairs and things like that. I think where the rules sort of the original policy came in was that as long as it wasn't doing a service of religion, you know, at the same time as the community event or things like that, just to, because it was pushing a religion on. Whereas, but if it was open and transparent to, wholly inclusive, anybody could come along and not have that put upon them. That's where the funding is allowed for churches in the old policy,
Right.
the previous policy.
Very much. Yeah. Caitlin, what's up first?
Yeah, just a couple. One was that one as well, so that thank you. The other, so this is just for community funding, not this, it doesn't include the small schemes fund as well, because obviously I know that comes under community funding. So if there's anything that we're not allowing to come to community funding, we are able to support in our small schemes.
Yeah.
Okay. And the second one is just for the grants. Obviously, fine that we discuss it in part one. We've often done that. Does that include the funding amounts and the bank amounts, or will we be keeping that in part two?
Well, I was going to say, we've been to enhance the transparency, we'll be having as much in part one, unless there's a specific reason where it becomes a sensitive information. We'll have to move into part two, but the going forward, majority of it from recent experiences should be mainly in part one.
That's absolutely fine. We've often discussed most of it in part one. It was only the actual like fund bank details that mainly kept in part two previously, so that's fine.
So whereas I'm aware that we've been asked to support like Christmas events and things like that, one of the things that comes to mind as far as funding like religious things is like if there was a request for to have repairs done on the buildings which are of historic interest, and I think we need clarification on exactly what we can support and what we can't support. So, you know, if we get something in writing, that would be for grants and things like that, yeah.
And I don't have the specific legislation on me at the moment, but I have drawn reference to this previously in discussions with the chair and vice chair of community development. Legislation used to state that local councils could not fund churches for repairs or any costs relating to their buildings. But that legislation changed. It changed in, I want to say 2022. I will dig that information out and send it to you, but it does categorically say that the town council does have the power to support religious buildings. It does have the power to support religious activities and beliefs, but it's a local choice of the council whether they wish to do that.
I'm just
And that's a
thinking,
decision that has to
I'm
be
just thinking in terms of like if the situation arose where like a church in the middle of the town was vandalised and they got all the lead ripped off their roof and they needed urgent repairs and couldn't get their hands on the funding. You know, I would like to be able to support that. Whereas I would need to know what the clarification, just because there was something which would stop us from doing that. Just need to know, that's all.
Yeah, we'd probably have to use your small schemes funding going off the way this is adopted.
The decision that the council needs to make is whether they wish to use the power to support religious activities, etc., or not. If the council agrees not to, then you may have to use your small schemes to support anything. If the council agrees to support it, then the community funding scheme would be open to accept applications of those types. It's a decision for the council to make.
Very good.
In the past, have we had many requests from religious organisations for funding? And if we did, can you highlight any of them? If you, I mean, I'm putting you on the spot.
You receive funding requests for the Nativity, you receive funding requests for Christmas tree festivals, and they're two off the top of my head. I can't really think of any more at this precise moment in time, but you do receive, I mean, there has been some support given through members, small schemes as well, to the church activities. Sorry, I can't think of them all off the top of my head.
I mean, there's been toilet repairs, there's been like some cleaning equipment, vacuums and purchase as well through small schemes, so.
It's on that. I mean, is there a particular reason why we would not want to support something at Christmas? Or, I mean, I'm not saying we should. I just want, there must be a reason why somebody's making the decision that we don't support those type of things anymore. It's,
I
you know,
think,
we are a Christian country after all. I'd
it's
say
just how the
that.
policy was written
Yeah.
initially, and it's been brought to our attention that, you know, there is a potential weakness in the policy.
Right,
We've looked at that, so this makes it a stronger policy. And that's why you're here. It's, the decision tonight is if you agree to that particular recommendation to change the policy. The original policy says we don't support it. There is legislation to say you can do so.
if there was a need and the members would decide
If
it.
it goes through the community funding machine, yeah. So it's really only that decision that you have to make.
And can I just say, if anybody is not happy about the small schemes, then they can always just put them back into the community funding policy. That's an option.
All right, so I think we'll take a vote on this, that we're going to adopt this policy. Take a vote.
The original policy, yes.
This,
I'm going to change it.
this is a new one.
The new, that we changes.
Yeah.
That's all.
But then does the new one actually include the section where you are supporting religious elements, because you haven't actually made that decision yet?
Mhm.
You need to make the decision on whether you wish to exercise the powers to support religious activities, events, and then move on to adopting the policy, because I think you've left it open.
Amendment.
So it says on the bottom, yeah, this policy adoption is time critical for the launch of 26-27 funding rounds for small to medium. So we'll make the decision. Do we go up the old one? No? Anybody?
You wish to?
Can I make a proposal? Can I make a proposal?
Do you wish not to use?
I think that keep things the way they are at the moment, and if there's anything comes on in the future, then, you know, for reasons that change, then we could look at it again.
Can do.
Because we haven't had any problems in the past.
No, you can't.
Is, if they keep what you've got, when you adopt these changes, that's what we're doing, isn't it?
Well, I'm proposing that I'll keep what we've got.
Well, councillor Johnson, you'll get a chance to vote on that, because the recommendation is if we wish to exercise the available powers to allow it to happen where you can fund. So that's the vote that we need to take.
I would like to say that to make it more understandable is to make sure you put it in there so that we can adopt this policy now. But add amendment about where we can support churches. So I would like to see that put in. And then I would accept the proposal.
So
Well, one follows the other.
Right.
You know, if the recommendation is carried, then we'll do any necessary tweaking to the policy on the strength of the decision of the council. And that'll go out very quickly for the community funding groups to, you know, to make application for the next round.
At the end of the day, it'll be up to the members to decide if there is a request comes in, they decide whether or not to give, but at least they've got the option for that choice.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're actually taking a vote on taking this proposal on. Yeah,
Yeah.
That is.
right. Hold on. The committee considers whether they wish to exercise powers of the Local Government Religious, etc. Observances Act 2015 within the community funding policy. The committee resolved to approve the revised community funding policy.
And that's what we're voting on.
And that's what we're voting on.
just to clarify, the funding policy has been written with amendments, but has not included the amendment on religion because it has not yet been made. So the policy itself states you will not fund religion until you make a decision. If you change that, we change the policy. So
And I just say, just for clarification, because I'm not really clear. It says here, the current policy states that applications are excluded from religious organisations where they wish to use any funding for these particular purposes. And then it names the Local Government Act. And then it says, however, you can, to give the council power to support or facilitate or make arrangements to be represented at any of the following: a religious event, an event with a religious element, or an event with a connected with religious element. So to make that say, the current policy statement, you know, that, you know, generally they wouldn't give if you're going to support a religious festival or event, but the council still have the choice to support the religious event and the event with a religious element. Is that what, no, the current policy is?
The current policy states that applications are excluded from religious organisations where they use the fund for those particular purposes. However, we're asking, do you want to change that policy based on the Local Government Religious Observance Act?
Yeah.
Sorry,
That's what comes.
we're asking you whether you want to change that. You could maintain the status quo of not supporting religious activities, or you could change that to allow religious groups to apply for funding, and then they apply as any other group would do. It comes to a committee meeting for consideration.
Yeah.
The wording in the draft policy is the current wording because the decision has not yet been made on that.
So what we're doing is putting the amendment in where we can choose to support the churches.
Can or
Religious.
Well, that's where you
If the council follows the same. So are we voting on the first one?
want to the recommendation that we wish to exercise those powers in the church policy.
So we're voting on these recommendations. Do we hold on to the policy that we already have? Yeah.
Sorry, no.
You wish to exercise the powers of the Local Government Act.
Yeah, I've done those before.
Yes.
So,
Right,
it's if you wish to, do the members wish to have the, to change the policy in line with the Local Government Act 2015 to allow funding as Elaine's described in detail there.
I don't know.
If you disagree with that, it means we stick with the original policy, which clearly states you can't. So that's the,
Okay, well, so the proposal is, do we vote to allow for the funding?
or to be
Change
funded
the
policy to
original
be changed in line with the law.
To allow funding,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry,
So,
I'm short-handed
so
there, yeah,
yeah.
all right, those in favour?
yes.
Policy.
I thought that's.
Only religion would do this.
That's why I'm going to.
That wasn't hard, was it?
Right. Agenda 5 is Project Shield, and we'll hear from Elaine about that one.
Project Shield's been a bit back and forth with lots, the goalposts keep changing constantly. And since I've written this report, it was in the press 3 days ago that the Police and Crime Commissioner has now given some funding to the partner groups of Project Shield. I read that today and emailed the County Council to ask what was going on. And they've said that nothing's actually finalised yet, but what will be a partnership between the County Council and the Police and Crime Commissioner will be a light version of what went before. They will still have focus areas, but they're yet to be determined. They obviously are still pending requests from town councils for funding. And then going into my report, we have not allocated any budget provision for this funding. But this request still needs to come to the town council for consideration as to whether you choose to support Project Shield or not. any funding would have to come from balances because there's no budget provision.
And I've just heard today that the Police and Crime Commissioner is gonna release funding for Project Shield. You heard that as well, Daniel?
No, just the green chair.
Yeah,
That's what I'm interested in.
so we've actually heard about that they're gonna release funding, so where we'll go from there.
Personally, I don't agree with this. You know, we pay precept for the police force to do a job. And now we're paying, expecting the taxpayer to pay extra money to do the job that the police are supposed to be doing. It's bang out of order. I don't care what the police commissioner, I mean, they're going to bite the dust soon in any case. Thankfully. But, well, I say it as it is. And I find that, yes, they've got a wonderful list. We're sleepwalking into privatising the police force. In a few years' time, basically, that's what it is, where you have to pay more and more and more if you need the police on your doorstep. And bless the police as they are, you know, I mean, they turn up at the residents' meeting and they seem as though they can never solve anything. To the police when they come. The golf club are complaining because they had these motorbikes have been racing up and down, destroying the golf, and they don't seem as if the police are anywhere in sight to be able to stop it. It's not rocket science to be able to catch these people. If they're determined to do it, they should be out there. I see them when I'm on the field with the dog on Broadway Field, and that's any time of the day you go on there, you will see somebody on one of those scooters. So it's just, personally, I won't support this simply on those, for that reason, that the public on the council tax bill pay for a police force. And why should we be paying extra so that they might solve some crime? So what are the police going to be doing in the meantime? Sitting twirling their fingers in their office?
That's just a bit nice.
Chair.
Yeah, that's the transfer tax.
I think we.
Daniel, Alexander,
Just to ask Chair, Elaine, did they say how much the PCC have released?
No.
Yeah, I'd just like to concur with what Councillor Campbell was saying. I think the precept was quite steep. I think the police had enough resources, and I don't really believe that we ought to be propping them up on top of that. I think it goes above and beyond to expect the populace to support that when they should be having it already. They shouldn't need propping up.
Mark.
We'll wait and see for this, what the proper figures is actually going to be, what they come back with, you know what I mean?
Say.
Well, that's a decision you've got to.
Can we delay it until they actually come back with how much they're going to give work, and then if they say they're going to pay for it all, then we're not going to have to pay anything. Well, then we don't know what we've got to pay you now.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying?
So are you proposing that we are open-minded to the future of Project Shield and we'll consider it at a later date when we have more information?
Yes, when they tell me basically how much it's going to cost.
That's a facing.
I just feel so sorry. Was I?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Caitlin.
But then the sorry way.
Sorry, I just feel as though the last time that we funded them, we haven't really had any update of where that money has gone and what difference it's made at all. And you know, like Deirdre says, I'm the same. You know, it's on fly. You've still got these bikes flying up and down. And when we do have the police here talking to about things, it's like it's all like, oh yes, we've caught some drug dealers and we've caught some thieves that are up from the court and from Greggs and that. But what difference has it made with this money that we put in the last time? So from my point of view, I think with the council tax coming out and what they're getting on our council tax increases more than enough to cover it. So personally speak from my point of view, I wouldn't I object to it for that reason. Yeah.
Councillor Jones.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't need that for yeah. Right.
In theory, going against everyone here. In theory, I agree with Project Shield, but having sat in the meeting about it with Elaine and David, we obviously had that opportunity to ask a little bit more and try to get those answers. And I didn't feel that we were getting the full transparency that we needed. Now, they did say that they'd come back with the report, which is obviously this one, about the summary of impact, but it's not really in very much detail of how the year's actually been impacted. And I know they said that they couldn't give us all the details because it wasn't yet finished. And we'll be able to get everything following of March, but I think without knowing the full details, we can't really make the decision. Elaine, I don't know if you know this, obviously they said that the funding was ending on Tuesday and therefore the officers that were there, their contracts were ending. I presume, since I don't know if anyone else, any of the other town councils have made a decision, have those officers now gone? Because that's why there was the time, like, urgency.
My understanding is that the county council was obliged to look for alternative employment for the officers because they've been in position for a certain period of time, but that, I don't know anything beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't comment, but there is an at-risk register at the county council, which a number of people are going on the 1st of April.
Right, just because,
Comment.
no, that, I completely get that. It's just because obviously if our decision doesn't affect anything there, then I'm inclined to agree with Mark and wait to know what funding we're going to be receiving, if any, before we contribute, because obviously the first report and what was discussed in that meeting is the ask is basically 100,000, and that's a lot of money because they want 2 officers. I don't think we can really make that informed decision without knowing what funding's available.
Have you got any alternative to what we've just heard, David? Because I think we could maybe go to Mark's proposal, take a vote on that.
That's fine.
I'm just gonna
Have you got an
I
alternative?
was gonna just agree to propose what Mark said and just get a vote.
Thank you, right, so you seconded his proposal.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's not to agree with you, so we'll just say it's make it only 1 grand. Do them.
okay, and Mark's proposal is we'll wait and see what happened with the funding first, so we'll take a vote on that, yeah?
Agreed.
Unanimous.
Right, those against that? Right, thank you. So we'll move on to agenda 6, which is committee membership and representation on outside body. To resolve and agree the revised committee membership and representation on NALC.
Yeah. The first item is, in recent weeks, we've had a couple of requests related to the governance committee. And those requests are that the straight swaps with the parties. Councillor Erskine will replace Councillor Jones. Councillor Carty will replace Councillor Nisbet. That's on the governance committee, and it's just for you to resolve that.
Do we agree to resolve that?
Yes.
Great, thank you very much.
And this,
Representation of NALC. We have a different name for the represent us on there, NALC, and it's Richard Baker.
no, I think Councillor Rose has stood down from the. We do have, it has been proposed that Councillor Baker wishes to attend, but really it is open for other members to put a name forward. If there's more than one, we'll obviously have a vote between the 1, 2 or 3 however many members.
Do we have anybody else who would like to represent NALC in the room?
Being on it.
We don't? Okay. So,
Being on it.
There's only a vote on this from Tony.
well done, Rick. Thank you. Okay, Rick's got to leave now. He's got to on his way to somewhere else. But, thank you. Thank you.
Enjoy it.
Move on to agenda 7. This is the office accommodation. Are you doing this one, Malcolm? No?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. We had an office accommodation working group, a couple of weeks ago. Hannah summarised the thoughts of the group. These objectives are on the bottom of the second page. So it's really, I mean, trying to do is to get a firm up a set of agreements. A lot of the things that we've done previously were physical things, but these are going into some of the other points which we haven't included, such as is there a wish to have a community space in there, etc., etc. So it's really just this will add to the list we've already got, and it means that any properties which we look at, we'll look at with a greater checklist, if you like, to see if they meet those criteria. So it's moving forward to the members' needs.
Consider the recommendations. Take a vote on that. Okay, do we consider the recommendations of the office nomination?
Yes. Great.
Three.
Great.
Thank you very much.
That's it.
Natalie?
Yeah.
Do you wish to have time to?
Yeah, no, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just didn't have the paper, that's all.
Okay, agenda 8 is the date and time of the next meeting. The next meeting of full council will be held on Thursday, the 14th of May, 2026, in the council chamber, Arms Everton House. Public question time starts at 6 p.m. Council will commence directly afterwards. Thank you very much. Pursuant to the Public Bodies Admission to Meetings Act 1960, in view of the confidential nature of the business about to be transacted, it is advisable in the public interest that the press and public be excluded and you're instructed to withdraw. Thank you very much for coming to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.